One of the most frustrating things in life is when you're having a problem, you're really struggling with something, a challenge has presented itself, and you try to talk to somebody about it. You try to air your grievance, perhaps curry some sympathy. And the person that you're talking to says something like, well, that's nothing compared to, or you don't have as bad as somebody else, or it could always be worse. And people in a third world country, they have it so much worse than you. You know that they're not really listening to you, and it takes a certain amount of trust to open up to people, and yet you know they just minimized, they trivialized everything you just said, and probably didn't really listen well enough to even repeat it accurately to somebody else if they wanted to, and they probably will. It's very frustrating to deal with that. You feel like what you're going through is affecting you so much, and you just want to vent, you want to talk to somebody, and yet somehow they just don't get it. You know, it's important to surround yourself with people who can actually sympathize with you, or who know how to sympathize with other people, period. Some people can't do that. They're too selfish. They're too narcissistic. They just can't fathom putting themselves in somebody else's shoes and feeling with them what they're going through. Ben Sherwood had something to say about this. Now, I don't know if you know who Ben Sherwood is, but I had to write this down because I would not probably remember all of this. But Ben Sherwood is a writer. This is according to Wikipedia. Ben Sherwood is a writer, a journalist, and a producer who currently serves as the co-chairman of Disney Media Networks, and he's the president of Disney ABC Television Group, and he's the former president of ABC News. He had something to say about this very thing. Here's what he said. He said, while some challenges appear to be more daunting and excruciating than others, if you're going through an ordeal, it doesn't make any difference where it registers on some imaginary Richter Scale of survival. If it's happening in your life, if it's got your undivided attention, if it matters to you, the contrasts are irrelevant. Your challenge is just as big a deal as anyone else's. That's what he said. I don't know where I first saw that, read that, heard that, but I just know that it stuck with me enough for me to write it down. And it really made me stop and think about how I think about my own problems. If I have given enough credence to my own opinions, and if I have assigned more value to someone else's problems rather than my own. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't know how you view yourself. I don't know how you look at your own problems. But one of the impediments that we have, or at least I do, and I know if I do, a lot of other people do, is that oftentimes I'll downplay my own problems. I'll be going through something and I'll do one of two things. I'll either upstage them or downplay them. It'll either be, my problems are worse than anybody else's. I don't usually do that, but there are occasions that I'm feeling sorry for myself, and I'll do that. But there are times when I'll downplay them, and I'll think, I shouldn't feel sorry for myself. My problems are not very big compared to everyone else's. And you know why? Because I've heard that from people all my life, and chances are you have too. But it's frustrating. Because sometimes you won't assign enough value to it to really be honest with yourself, your emotions. You won't allow yourself to feel what you should naturally feel in any given situation. So you bury it. You put it on the back burner. You don't deal with it. And then later on you found out that it was a pretty serious problem and you should have dealt with it a long time ago. That's what happens. And so what I want to tell you is just what Ben Sherwood said. If you're going through something, your challenge is a big deal to you. It's a big deal. Don't let anyone tell you that you don't really have it so bad. That what you're dealing with is not so important. It is important. It is important. When I was going through some very troubled waters a few years back, I called my mother to discuss with her about how to deal with this. I would call her up a lot because I just did not know. I didn't know how to deal with it because I felt like as a man, I should have felt different or handled things different, because you see other men going through the same kind of things I was, and it didn't seem to faze them as much. They seemed grittier, tougher. But I wasn't sure if there was something wrong with me. I didn't know if I was emasculating myself or not. I wasn't sure. I wasn't really sure. So I called my mother. And what my mother told me was, allow yourself to feel everything that you're feeling. If you feel sad, allow yourself to feel sad. Allow yourself to feel angry. Cry if you think you need to. You don't have to do it in front of everybody else. And you don't have to vent your problems to everybody. But don't suppress those things. And just because somebody else isn't listening to you fairly enough and assigning value to your challenge because they're so focused on themselves, or they just simply don't know how to deal with it and it's just a patent answer they give you, it doesn't mean that what they're saying is true. Assign value to it yourself. Know in your own mind that you don't need anybody else to validate that what you're dealing with is a real problem. If it's a real problem in your mind, it's a real problem. And you must allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. Let yourself go through the stages. It's very important to. When my mother told me that, it liberated me. I would go stand in front of a mirror and I would talk to myself and I would say everything that I was feeling that I wouldn't tell anybody else. And the image in the mirror would speak back to me. And it was a rational side of me that could only come out if I was absolutely honest with myself. Now, that might sound crazy or corny to you, but it actually worked, and I advise it. So take Ben Sherwood's advice. Be your own best friend in this regard. Sympathize with yourself. Trust that what you're feeling is real. Validate it yourself, because no one else may do it for you, and you can't wait on them to do it. No one else can be taken under your wing and understand you as well as you can understand yourself. Now, I say that if you are fortunate enough to have people in your life that are close to you that can actually sit down, listen to you, and not invalidate your feelings, and sympathize with you, all the more better. That is wonderful, and those are precious. Those are precious gems that you need to hold on to. And that's what I have to say in the matter, because it's something that I have dealt with, and it liberated me. and I'm hoping that somebody else will hear this that has felt and thought all the same things I have, and just need to hear someone else say it. All right, guys. I appreciate you watching this video. I hope it helped. I hope you found value in it. And I'll be catching you in the next one. All right. Bye-bye.